Hey guys, it's Noor from UK Mobile Review. In front of us is the iPhone 5S and we know you've been asking for it. Here's our iPhone 5S video review. So let's begin with the actual style. If you've had an iPhone 4, 4S, 5 and now the 5S, they all share the same build style. You've got the 4-inch Retina display, you've got the iSight front-facing FaceTime HD camera. FaceTime, remember, is over Wi-Fi or your cellular network. You've got the sensors and you've got the home button. But on the iPhone 5S, the home button is actually the Touch ID fingerprint sensor. We'll come back to that in a moment. To the right, we have the SIM card tray and the antenna bars. On the left, we've got the volume keys and the mute switch. All traditional iPhone. Nothing's changed, especially compared to the iPhone 5. Up top we've got the power button and down below we've got the headphone jack, speaker, microphone and the lightning connector. Remember, if you've got an accessory that uses 30 pin, even if you get an adapter, some of the audio and video functionality won't work, especially if you've got something like a dock. So you will need to buy a new dock if you go for the 5S or the 5C or the 5. Anything with a lightning connector really. On the back, again, it looks just like another iPhone. Apple logo, iPhone details. The IMEI number is now printed on the back as opposed to on the SIM card tray. Because it takes a nano SIM, the SIM card tray is just far too long to contain 15 digits printed on there. The good thing is, even if you lose a SIM card tray and replace it, you still know exactly what the IMEI number of this device is. The other key change with the iPhone 5S is the camera. It is still an 8 megapixel camera, but it's now got 1.5 pixel size compared to 1.1 on traditional smartphones, but it is still smaller than the 2 pixel size found on the HTC One's ultra pixel camera. So Apple claimed that their camera offered the super pixels. Do you guys see the weird thing here? Ultra pixels, super pixels, ginormous pixels. Who knows where it's going to go next? The other key change is the 5S is actually the first of Apple's iPhones to support a dual LED flash. But it's not your traditional flash, and we're going to come back to that in a short moment. For now, let's flip it over, and we're heading straight back to the Touch ID. Now you may have noticed this earlier, but look, it's the Touch ID fingerprint sensor. And voila, it's already unlocked. No passwords necessary, and it unlocks with just a fingerprint. We've already actually shown you how to set all of this up, so we're not going to go into how to set it up. But what we will tell you is, we've been using this 5S for quite some time, and the fingerprint sensor is less than perfect. Touch ID needs a lot of work. I mean, it's a great idea to have, and we do like the fact that Apple have built it into the home button, but it definitely needs a lot of work because the responsiveness, the reliability and the accuracy is less than you'd expect from something that costs £570 just for a 16 gig version. So I mean, Apple have done a lot, but it needs work. Nonetheless, Touch ID can be used to download applications. So the Touch ID can be used to download applications and authorise purchases. But the funny thing is, we tried to demo this on camera so many times, and every time we do, it works. But we've often found that sometimes it would ask you for when you're trying to use Touch ID to authorise an application, it would ask you to enter your password to authorise the use of Touch ID to download the application. So if you follow us, we're trying to use a fingerprint sensor, so we don't need to use a password. But the iPhone 5S wants us to put a password in to authorise the use of the fingerprint reader to avoid using a password. Yeah, that's confusing, and another little bug we found with Touch ID. Nonetheless, this is probably going to change, and Apple must be aware of these bugs, yet they still chose to release it anyway. Surprising, eh? So now let's flip it on the back and talk about that camera. Now, the key thing about the camera is bigger pixels, letting more light, more detail, overall better quality pictures. We've done a lot of testing of the camera. Check out the links in the description below for more on the camera itself and the image quality, the video quality. But the key thing about the camera is it supports 1080p video at 60 frames per second, or it also supports 720p slow-mo video at 120 frames per second. We've even got a slow-mo sample out there. So you know where to check for all of that. Description, links, and YouTube. The flash, though, has a difference. Unlike most dual LED flashes, which are just two white LEDs, this is actually one white and one amber LED. And Apple calls it the True Tone Flash, which basically means that it automatically recognises the background and the scene and adjusts the flash according to the scene. What this means is there's less likely to have washed out pictures, flash blurs in the photo, and overall the flash becomes useful as opposed to useless. Is it any good? You'll really need to go and check out those links, but we've been relatively impressed so far. Another thing to show you is the speaker. Now the speaker in this has improved further than the iPhone 5. It's improved quite a lot since on the iPhone 5. It's noticeably louder, especially when you're for notifications, making calls and things like that. And music playback is not too bad either. And let's just show you how good it is. I'm going to put it on full blast really quickly. So there you go, the command center came in handy. Overall, we found that the quality is good. It is quite loud. It does sound tinny at times, depending on the song and the bit rate and the quality of the actual music being played. Overall, it's an improvement on the iPhone 5, which is all you can ask. Apple gets things better year by year, and I suppose on the iPhone 6 it's going to be much better, because that's traditionally what they do. They'll have a bigger screen, much more enhancements, etc, etc. That's all for another day. So what about the spec? I mean, there's two other parts of the iPhone 5S. You've got the iOS 7, which we've done quite an in-depth review of, so you'll need to check the channel for that. And you've got the actual spec itself. With the iPhone 5S brings the new Apple A7 processor and the M7 coprocessor for things like the sensors, the gyrometer, proximity sensor, etc. But the A7 processor is where it really happens. It's actually the world's first 64-bit operating system. Something we might have forgotten to mention in the review, in the iOS 7 review, so apologies for that. And the spec also includes the internals have been upgraded. So yeah, we've got a slightly bigger battery. Battery life is pretty good, we're not going to lie. It's not brilliant, but it's certainly better than we found on the iPhone 5. You've also got much faster charging time. And we've actually done a little bit of testing, not totally in depth, and we found that the iPhone 5S is actually probably around 1.5 to 2 times faster to a full charge from empty than the iPhone 5 was, using the same charger. That's not bad. Nice welcome improvement, and probably because Apple knows that a lot of people use the iPhone all day long, and the battery generally dies within a few hours. Or you have to charge it at least once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. All depends on how often you use it. Another real welcome improvement is the 5S, just like the iPhone 5C. Make sure you check out the review on that. The 5S is compatible with all UK 4G networks. So we were talking, it runs the LTE Cat 3, which is 100 megabit download speeds, 50 megabit per second upload speeds. That's the maximum theoretical ones. Has LTE, the bands 3, 5 and 7, offering 800 megahertz, 1800 megahertz and 2600 megahertz. All that means is it'll run on EE02 Vodafone and run on 3's upcoming unlimited data 4G network, which launches in December, but it's going to be rolled out across the UK mostly throughout 2014 and beyond. Having 4G is a welcome improvement, but it's not only that, we've also got Bluetooth 4.0, which is support for things like wearables and smartwatches, etc. Hint hint, iWatch coming up soon. And you've also got wireless AC, Wi-Fi AC, which is already handy. Obviously comes with Wi-Fi hotspot. You've got dual band, and the Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So the Wi-Fi performance is pretty good as well. We're going to bring you a bit of testing on that because we've got this for a few more days still. iOS 7 itself brings obviously the biggest change to the iPhone since, the launch of the first iPhone. And we kind of touched on that in the review. But overall, the 5S is a pretty good product. I mean, the improvements over the 5 are relatively plentiful, including that all-new gold colour scheme. Yeah, champagne gold that looks like light brownish. Weird, but this is Apple. Incidentally, this is the silver, not silver and white, which not just the white. I think Apple just likes to change colours every year, just for the hell of it. And also, 5S overall is not actually a bad smartphone. It is a 2013 smartphone. The key thing about it is we don't personally believe it's worth £570. The key redeeming features are the camera, Touch ID, iOS 7, and neither one of these, or even put together, makes the entire device worth that really large price that Apple is charging. For £570 you can get something like a Galaxy Note 3, which does so much more. Oh look, we have one here. You can also get something like a Nokia Lumia 1020 with all the camera kit and things like that. That does much more. Galaxy S4 is going to be cheaper, and we'd recommend that over a 5S. For £570 and upwards, because 16 gig really isn't much, to be honest, if you're using an iPhone, it is a lot of money for something like a 5S. Would we recommend you upgrade? If you've got an iPhone 4, 4S, then maybe it might be worth it. But there's also a lot more other smartphones to check out. If you've got an iPhone 5, stick with it, unless you want to use it on O2 4G, Vodafone 4G, or 3's 4G, because remember the iPhone 5 doesn't support those networks. So kind of it's a catch-22. Should you buy a 5S? Honestly, we're going to have to say no. Sorry, Apple. But for everything it does offer, there's a lot it leaves out. And if you're going to be taking £570 of mine, ours, or anyone else's money, you really need to bring more than a relatively unreliable Touch ID fingerprint sensor, a camera that does still have questions, i.e. where is optical image stabilization? Everyone's on that ballgame. Why haven't you bought wireless charging? There's still no NFC, for heaven's sake. There's a lot of features that we'd consider must-haves on any other platform that we're willing to forgive Apple. And for that reason, it's not worth £570. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and tell us in the comments what you think of this kind of video. Did you like it? Did you not? We want to know what you think, and we try and improve our upcoming videos. Please share this, and remember, if you stay subscribed, you get to find out first when we upload videos, and trust me, we've got a lot of stuff coming. Thanks for watching. Until next time.